The View is an excellent show. Why? Because it's a rare national forum where people come and they're actually challenged. And there are conservatives and liberals on the show, so when Ventura goes on the show, Elizabeth Hasselbeck challenges him, and when Glenn Beck goes on the show, apparently Whoopi opens a can of whoop-ass on him, right? And there's Joy Behar, and they all have their different opinions, and they have an actual conversation. Now, the conversation is sometimes a little too crowded, but overall, at least somebody's getting challenged, unlike the regular news where nobody gets challenged. So I really like The View in that sense. So in this case, Glenn Beck comes on, and apparently Glenn Beck said something about Whoopi and Barbara Walters that wasn't true, and they're not going to let it go. They're going to go house on his ass. So let's go to the first clip on Glenn Beck here.
Excuse me. Why are you nervous?
Have you looked the way Whoopi's looking at me?
I tell you before that's it. Buckle your seatbelt, Glenn.
I'm a little pissed at you.
We were not going to start off on this, but you have two of us.
Yeah.
Okay?
To deal with. Yeah.
But by the way, this happened after you were booked, Glenn.
Yes, I know.
First you were booked. We were very gracious. We wanted to know more about you.
Yes.
This happened after you were booked.
Wow.
Yeah, we were heading, I believe, to the Correspondents Dinner, all down to Washington, Barbara and myself, and you were on the train when we got on the train. Had a perfectly decent ride. You introduced yourself to Barbara, said you were going to be on the show.
I did.
I gave you a look like I gave you just now. And so that was all fun. We got off the train and we went on our merry way. The following Monday, I got this link from somebody sent to me. Really pissed me off because I don't want to just say, Glenn Beck, you lied, but let's I'm going to take a look.
All right.
And so there were 4 seats at this table, and it was empty. So we get in, and we sit down at the table, and the lady says, no, you can't take those. Why not? They're reserved. They're reserved. You can't reserve. No, these are reserved. Now I'm thinking, Joe Amtrak Biden is getting onto the train. Because you cannot reserve a seat on Amtrak. They don't do it. Well, all of a sudden the police enter. Clear the path. It's Barbara Walters and Whoopi Goldberg. Oh, and Steve Croft. How did they reserve seats on Amtrak when you can't reserve seats on Amtrak? Now, as the train took off, and Barbara said, Glenn Beck. And I said, yes, Mrs. Walters, how are you? You're going to be on our show in a couple of weeks, I understand. I said, oh, yeah. And Whoopi looks up over her glasses. Oh, yes, Glenn Beck. Yes.
And that's why.
Mischaracterization of you, Miss Walters. I'm sorry for the bad.
You said she came over.
No, and you didn't. I came over to you. You're exactly right.
I was very nice and polite to you.
Yes, you were.
Okay, but there's a little more. So I'd like you to apologize.
Why did you lie about that?
Why did I lie about that?
Yeah, why did you say she came over?
I don't know. I came over. I don't know.
You made fun of what?
Yeah, I guess so, yeah.
So Steve Croft, I wanted to make sure before I brought this up to you, we didn't reserve seats. I don't know what. Wait, let me just because wait a minute.
Accusing me of lying. Let me tell you what.
What do you mean I'm accusing you? You sat there and you were a lying sack of dog mess. You lied. You know what, Glenn? Here's the thing that was true. I was not particularly happy to see you because I watch your show. No, I don't like your views. I don't know you, okay? I don't like your views, okay? There's a lot of people that I don't like whose views that I don't agree with. That's okay. But for you to make something up like that and drag us in and put it as though
I was told by the Amtrak, and I have other people that were with me.
That's not what you said.
I was told by the Amtrak people that those were going to be reserved, and I would be
into it.
Excuse me. I would be so excited when I find out who's sitting there.
Why did you bother as a reporter who goes on to check? As it happens, Whoopi and I had a hard time finding seats. We finally did at the end of the car. Steve Croft, who came in at wait, and you saw him come in.
Yes.
There were no seats for Steve. He and his wife were separate. You are an investigative reporter.
No, I'm not.
Oh, you're a reporter.
No, I am not.
So you check no facts at all, right?
No. I am not. I am a commentator. I am a commentator. I commentate on life.
Do you ever check your facts?
But you were wrong here. And here's why it pissed me off. Here's why it pissed me off more than anything. Because regardless of that, when I got off that train and your big man was standing there, I had a good moment with you, and I thought, okay, this is all right. When I saw this and what went on to it, I thought, why would you drag me into it? But number one, why would you say that she called you over with that voice? Come over here. And then say, it's there.
Do you not think that, did you not think that I knew this was coming? Did you not think I knew this was coming? I have no problem.
I don't care if you knew what it was.
I have no problem.
Why did you lie, Glenn? Why did you try to make some stuff up about Barbara and I? That's what I'm trying to find out.
I'm sorry that I, to use Nancy Pelosi's words, misspoke about you calling me over. You did not call me over. I went over.
All right, so several things here. One, it's obvious that Glenn Beck is a serial liar / exaggerator. Now, I actually don't want to be too harsh. He's the kind of guy that tells stories, and at the end of the story, you think, there's a 20% chance that's true. And there's an 80% chance that, at the very least, it is grossly exaggerated. And oftentimes totally made up. So, that's obvious, and he has no defense there. They asked him about 18 times. In the rest of the clip, they asked him another couple of times. He still didn't have an answer. Because if you're going to go on, you got to have an answer, right? He's like, did you think that I didn't see this coming? Yeah, apparently you didn't, for two reasons. One, you didn't have an answer. Two, the statement you put out afterwards, which I'm going to read you in a second. And he says in his description of the story, see, you can't reserve a seat on Amtrak. Well, that's why they hadn't reserved one. If you're going to tell a lie, just, as Barbara Walters kept saying, just check into it a little bit, because you're going to go on their show. Don't you think they're going to see it and challenge you on it? Apparently not. He says he mischaracterized it and misspoke, as you saw on the tape there. Now, afterwards, he's had a Jim Cramer-like change of mind, and he thinks he got ambushed, and these people are the worst. So here is Glenn Beck's statement, or from the statement from his Fox spokespeople. Glenn knew this wasn't going to be pretty, but his interview with the ladies on The View was even worse than anticipated. Mostly because they had wasted an entire segment on accusations that Glenn lied about who said hello to who first on his Amtrak train ride with Barbara and Whoopi to the Correspondents Dinner in Washington, D.C. I think what they were going for, Glenn, and I guess what you're missing is, what do you say on your show? And that's why Walters came back to that topic later and said, hey, listen, I'm just trying to find out, do you ever check facts at all on your show? And Glenn Beck never answered that question. Now, I know there's a lot of cross-chatter on The View, but he never came back. Like, if she had asked me that question, I'd make a point of coming back and saying, obviously I check my facts. I might be a commentator, which I am, not a journalist, but we got to present something accurate on television. And if it's your bad, you just say, it's my bad, and I don't normally do that. Obviously, Glenn does not clarify that. He says, the saddest part is that not only did they waste an entire segment on a completely insignificant, petty, humorless, and incidental point, Glenn had already clarified to the point the day before. Tune into Fox News tonight at 5 p.m. for Glenn's first response to the liar, liar, pants on fire, ambush interview by the ladies on The View. Here's what I never get. People who cry and moan about ambush interviews. Do you know what your position is, or you don't know what your position is? I'm asking you what your position is. Why is that an ambush? Like, anybody who just absolutely butchers an interview comes out and says, they ambushed me with questions. Well, what did you expect? They were going to play patty cakes? Be like, that's what they do. They're going to ask you, especially on an issue where you know you had lied about it a couple of days ago. It's madness.